What's Gucci everybody, it's your boy Lxst with the first time ever Storytime video, and you already know it's going to be a thick, juicy, spicy video for you all right now. It's going to be the first time I ever died, not clickbait. The first time you ever died, that has to be clickbait. I'm like, no, this is not exaggerated at all, I swear. Sit down, relax, grab the pineapple, and enjoy. So, let's just jump right into it. For the story, I'm going to have to give a little bit of context. So, growing up, I was kind of a daredevil. If someone said, you won't give that pineapple a lap dance, you won't, no balls, you know I'm going to give that pineapple the best lap dance it's ever had. Alright, so, with that in mind, as well as I was not a germaphobe, you know, I was a strong believer that the dirtier you get, it builds up your immune system. If my pizza fell, by second rule, I'm going to eat it. This story takes back in like 3rd or 4th grade. We would watch these videos, this show called The Magic School Bus. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of The Magic School Bus, I don't know what kind of childhood you've had, because The Magic School Bus is quite literally not gonna lie. So, this one time there was this video where they're in the forest and they're talking about mushrooms. I don't even know what was going on. I was daydreaming about clouds. I don't know. I was like Bob Ross, just daydreaming about clouds, like how thick, you know, a cloud can be and how pearly it can be. Recess was my favorite. I would really like to build sandcastles, you know. People usually make the one bucket ones. No, not me. I would make like a whole entire, like put like 5 of the buckets together and like stack them on top of each other and make like an entire castle, like an actual castle. There was this concrete border surrounding the sandbox that was bordering around the sandbox, and the other side of the border was a grassy field. Okay. So one day, just these mushrooms sprout out of nowhere. Just one day they just appear out of nowhere. Just this mushroom grows in between the border and the grassy field. Just one mushroom plant. It has a few other pieces that's fallen off around it that's in the grass. And I think it would just like maybe the person that cuts the lawn or something like that. Maybe someone just throw it away, something like that. Maybe someone pick it up, I don't know. So I wait a week for it to go away. It doesn't go away. A week, 2 weeks, it doesn't go away. Alright, I'm like, what's going on here? And then I call over a kid that's running around in the field. I'm like, yo, look at this plant. This mushroom. It's just growing in between the concrete border and the grassy field. That's pretty weird, and just one plant. It's like misplaced. It's so misplaced. So then he's like, yeah, that is kind of weird. And then he grabs his buddies, and then their buddies grab more people, and we get a huge crowd going. So there's a huge crowd surrounding this mushroom that's growing right there on the border of the sandbox. Someone yells out, eat a piece, you won't? And I'm like, what? I was like, no big deal, you know? And then I grab a piece. I'm like, who dares me to eat this mushroom right here? And I get a crowd going, they're like, yeah, you won't, come on, do it, you won't, no balls, you won't. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like getting people praising me right now. I'm like getting all people hyped up. And someone in the crowd's like, no, don't do it, you're gonna die. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, those are poisonous. What? Poisonous? Because I just thought they were just regular mushrooms that just sprouted, and like maybe, like how else do mushrooms grow? I didn't really know the difference between poisonous and others, so I thought just poisonous ones just grew in the forest, and just regular, you know, just regular mushrooms just grew whatever. So I take a bite of the mushroom, and then I swallow it. I'm fine. I'm like, I shrug my shoulders, and my dumbass thought that after taking that bite, the effect of the poisonous mushroom is gonna have effect. It's like, no, the effects of poisonous mushrooms not gonna take place right like seconds after I take a bite. So, you know, I just thought that. I just like, I took a bite, nothing happened, I'm fine. So everyone's like, whoa. And then I start eating the whole piece that I have in my hand. So I ate the whole piece, and everyone's like, whoa. And everyone's like cheering. I'm like, whoa, yeah, I can't believe you did it. Yo, like everyone's like praising me for the guy that everyone. Now I know why everyone was like chanting and cheering and like saying, oh, you won't, because it's a poisonous mushroom. You know, everyone's like thinking I'm crazy eating this poisonous mushroom that's on the ground. But I'm thinking I'm fine. I just go throughout my day, you know, in class. But all of a sudden, it's like a struck of lightning. Just all of a sudden, I just start throwing up non-stop. Just throwing up. You know, I would throw up like 5 minutes straight, and a minute break, and then just continue throwing up. And like it was like 5-minute throw up, 1 minute break intervals. It just kept on doing that. And then I just start throwing up more and more. It got so bad that I had to get called out of school. They called me out of school, but my parents are at work, so they just come by real quick and they grab me. I'm still throwing up. I'm throwing up in like in the bucket in the car, and they drop me off at this babysitter so my parents go back to work. And the babysitters, I'm throwing up in the toilet. I go rush into the bathroom. I'm like hugging the toilet at this point. I'm like laying on the floor, hugging the toilet and just throwing up. So then the babysitter's like, yo, I'm gonna call your mother. And I'm like, no, don't call my mom. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I was worried that she's gonna figure out that I ate something off the ground, you know. I didn't want my mom to think like knowing that I ate stuff off the ground, you know. I thought I was gonna get in trouble for eating stuff on the ground, not for eating the poisonous mushrooms, because I wasn't convinced that was poisonous at that time. So I'm just keep on throwing. I'm like, no, don't call my mom, don't call my mom. And then she keeps on insisting, and I yell at the babysitter because I'm so frustrated, because like I'm like so like stressed out. I'm like throwing up. I'm so irritated because I keep on throwing up. I'm like so annoyed at myself for keep on throwing up. I'm like yelling at the babysitter. I'm like, no, do not call my mom. Alright, and then she gets all like scared, like I'm going crazy, because like I kind of was going crazy, to be honest. So then she calls my mom, and then my mom comes by, and then she calls out of work, and then she calls out of work. She comes pick me up. We drive to the hospital. I'm laying in the back seat. I finally stop throwing up, but I lay in the back seat, and I'm just laying down. I'm feeling super tired. Like I don't even know. Like just sleep sounded super amazing for me at the time. I just want to lay down right there. I was like ready to go to sleep, but my mom, she knew that if I went to sleep, that would have been the end of it. You know, I would never wake up. You know, I'm obviously gonna die. So she's like, no, we're almost there. Just stay awake. She keeps on keeps on moving my body and all that. Like keeps on shaking me, trying to keep me awake. We finally get to the hospital. What's it called? My mom puts me on her shoulders, and then we start walking in, and then they put me on a wheelchair, and then they drag me into the hospital. They lay me on one of the beds, and they start pumping out my stomach. They asked me like, what did I eat, and I'm like, I just ate cereal. They're like, are you sure? Because yeah, some people that don't throw up from just eating cereal, you know, obviously that wasn't truth. And I'm like, alright, I ate a mushroom off the ground. They're like, a mushroom off the ground? I'm like, yeah. I'm like kind of like nervous, because I think I'm gonna get in trouble for eating food off the ground. And they're like, was it a poisonous mushroom? I'm like, I don't know. It was, if I would have paid attention to that Magic School Bus video in class that day, I would have known not to eat that mushroom. But it was a poisonous mushroom, and it's like, okay, yeah, it was a poisonous mushroom. We gotta do a whole different procedure. We didn't know it was that serious, so we gotta take you back to pump your stomach again. And so they go do that. They pump my stomach again. They got the toxin out of my stomach. I'm feeling like crap, but I'm kind of like relieved, you know, like kind of like exhausted, but like relieved that it's like we're finally done pumping up my stomach. So I just lay down, and they just explain like to me like all like things like that was poison mushroom, and like to not do that, don't eat poisonous mushrooms, and like stuff, this and that. I don't know exactly what they said, because I was probably drifting off daydreaming about clouds again. So they explained to me that I was quite lucky that they got to me in time, because if I would have waited exactly 60 seconds, I would have died. That they wouldn't be able to do the procedure and it wouldn't work. But since they said I was quite lucky that they got to me in time, so that's quite nice that happened. But yeah, that will be the end of the story about the time I almost died. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like. And if you want more story times, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on. And until next time, stay sexy.